question is, has the air cargo industry taken advantage in a holistic sense of the policies that have been created by the ministries and utilized that for their benefit? Second one. Or you want me to wait till you answer that?
I have 35 minutes for this question?
3 minutes and 50 seconds.
There were 3 policies in there.
Okay, let's finish that before I come to that, because that's something also I need your opinion on. So please go ahead, Ayash.
So thank you, Keku. This is Yashpal Sharma. I am President ACFI and also MD Skywest Group. Thank you, Keku, for setting this up and putting me right in the center and giving me the easiest of the questions. Well, we are at the right time of our life. I feel everybody, you heard all the panelists before me talk about what India has brought to the whole world today. We are definitely ahead of the curve, ahead of many advanced economies today where it comes to air cargo and logistics. Apart from whatever Satish mentioned about technology, about pharma, etc. So one that, we must put this straight to us that, we are today leading things from the front. And we will continue to do in years ahead. We are looking at, we heard today, this morning, both our guest of honors talk about what India needs to get to by 2047. So in 25 years, in about 25, 26 years, we are all looking at a 10 times growth for the business, which means there's a massive opportunity for all of us. Now, if you look at the government, they've set out a very clear agenda for logistics, aviation, as well. Over the last few years, we have the National Logistics Policy out. We've had PM Gati Shakti. We've had a draft of the aviation policy as well, in very quick span of time. Of course, there must have been a long work behind it, but putting these right in the center of how the government is wanting to look at India's growth story itself shows that logistics is going to play and going to be at the forefront of all activities. For any economy of the world, for it to thrive and grow, it must have a very solid logistics infrastructure, processes, equipments, etc. So these policies that have just come out are actually going to fast track some of these things. When we look at National Logistics Policy, I will not talk of the entire policy, but if you look at 2 larger things that it talks about or what it envisions to be, one is reduction of logistics cost, which of course most associations, including us, don't agree with when they say it's at 14%. It's definitely much lower. We are at par with any other advanced economy of the world today. And the second point that they talk about is, or they envision is that India should be in the top 25 on the logistics index by 2030. So when you talk about these 2 key elements and everything around, so all the other parameters that they've laid out are basically revolving around these two factors. So for India to achieve what it wants to achieve going forward, it's very important that aviation, air cargo, plays its very key role in both these elements and all the parameters defined around it. When you talk about the PM Gati Shakti, it is basically talking about multimodal connectivity. It's talking about improvement of infrastructure. We heard this morning our guest of honor talk about a 37% increase in the infrastructure budget layout. This year, we have a 10 lakh crore budget for infrastructure in the country. So, and a lot of this infrastructure we heard is being spoken about. Nitin also spoke about the importance of, how they are positioned next to all the major highways, the Delhi-Mumbai freight corridor, and even the Eastern corridor. So, it's important that air cargo is looking at positioning itself through these policies right in the center and gets the rightful place to get all the necessary connectivity to it. While a lot of action would be required by, say, the airports themselves or the other stakeholders themselves, but we need both these policies to help us to build infrastructure which will help us when we talk of reduction of costs. I'm again saying we are at par with everybody in the world, but we can be much better. And all that will happen if we have the necessary infrastructure in place, which gives us the rightful connectivity for air cargo to function efficiently.
Thank you. Second question.
Thank you.
Not letting you go so easily. So one of the challenges I think all of us in this room play, at least from my perspective, is forecasting of data and information. Um, I see a complete lack of interaction between the actual manufacturers pertaining to air cargo, okay, and ourselves, compared to the rest of the other industries. You know, they have a very good methodology of forecasting trends, 6 months, year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years also, they've got a very good methodology. And that is something that, in my opinion, there is a lack. Is there a way that we can engage directly? When I say we, I mean we as an ecosystem engage directly with the manufacturers to check what's your trend in the next season, year, month, whatever, so that the entire ecosystem, be it airlines, airports, forwarders, CHS, anybody in the system, are geared up to plan, whether it's infrastructure building, whether it's capacity enhancement, whether it's traffic, whatever parameter you want. Yash, your take, how do we do this?
Was that the answer or the question?
Question.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember what all he said. So I've always been saying this for a bit now, that the weakest link that we see in the data chain across is actually the shipper itself. Okay, when we talk about creating a data world, we are in a data world already, and at ACFI we rolled out a data vision where we're talking about complete end-to-end mapping of data. We don't want paper to move, and sits with the Go Green vision as well, that we do not want paper to move.